Today on Rappler, fans and friends thank Dolphy for decades of laughter.
Kay Manny Villar, panatag ang loob ko.
The Philippines' king of comedy was also a political force behind 2 presidential campaigns. And Ateneo School of Government Dean Tony Lavinia says the new mining EO is very good, but not perfect. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. It's a sad day today. The son of Dolphy, actor-director Eric Quezon, asks the public to pray for his father's soul. He says, in his honor, please smile at the person standing next to you. Quezon adds, the comedy king is dead, but long live comedy. Rodolfo Vera Quezon Sr., also known as Dolphy, died of multiple organ failure in a Makati hospital at 8:34 Tuesday night, July 10th. He was 83. The legendary comedian was diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease 5 years ago. Dolphy has 18 children with 6 women. He starred in more than 200 films in his 66-year career, starting with a 1946 movie when he was 19 years old with Fernando Poe Sr., Dugo at Bayan. The 80s generation remembers him as John Puruntong of John and Marcia, one of the most successful local comedy series in the history of Philippine TV. Today's generation saw him in other roles: an actor, a family man, an endorser of products, and politicians. Dolphy was known for his portrayal of gay roles, whether comedy or drama. His last film was Father Judgment in 2010. President Aquino awarded him the Order of the Golden Heart, the highest award given to a private citizen by the President of the Philippines. Rappler contributor Bert Sulat says Dolphy was not just the country's king of comedy, he was Mr. Zeitgeist. Director Joey Reyes says in his blog, Dolphy may not have been given the honor of being a national artist, but the man who made us laugh will always be a national treasure. Filipinos share on social media the lessons they learned from the comedy king. Joey Villarante remembers the sitcom John and Marcia and says he learned laughter is the best medicine. Santi Obsena says Dolphy taught him it's okay to be different. And Erwin Robreco says he learned to always find a reason to smile and be happy no matter what. Dolphy's death unites politicians from opposite sides of the fence. President Benigno Aquino III and Vice President Jejomar Binay, members of the Senate, used social media to express their condolences. Aquino says Dolphy embodies the common Filipino. Binay calls him an inspiration to millions. Nationalista Party President and Senator Manny Villar says he will never forget the trust and support Dolphy gave him. Senator Kiko Pangilinan says he is deeply saddened, while Senator Lauren Legarda says Filipinos will miss him. Prosecution spokespersons in the Corona trial, Erin Tañada and Sonny Angara, expressed their condolences, as did the defense's Karen Jimeno, 2013 senatorial hopeful Cynthia Villar, Coco Pimentel, Rufy Biazon, and Ace Barbers. Senator San Juan Representative J.V. Ejercito wishes Dolphy was given the National Artist Award. Dolphy played an active role in Philippine politics. He was a key personality in the campaigns of the late Fernando Poe Jr. in 2004 and Senator Manny Villar in the 2010 presidential elections. Both candidates lost. Gilbert Remulla of Villar's Nacionalista Party says, quote, being the non-politician that Dolphy was, the king of comedy stuck to what he did best, to give levity to the serious side of politics and campaigns. Poe's daughter, Movie, Television, and Review Classification Board Chairman Grace Polia Manzares says her father didn't want to ask friends in show business to campaign for him, but Dolphy insisted on doing it. Dolphy himself was always invited to run for public office, but he would always turn them down. At one point, when he was urged to run for president, he told reporters in his characteristic self-deprecating humor, "What if I win?" Ateneo School of Government Dean Tony Lavinia says the mining EO announced Monday does not disappoint. Lavinia says Executive Order No. 79 lays out the roadmap on mining reforms clearly, including guidelines on environmental protection and responsible mining. He says it is not perfect but good. In fact, it is very good. Lavinia outlines reasons why the EO changes paradigms for the better. Section 1 adds 3 new categories to prohibited areas: prime agricultural lands, tourism development areas, and island ecosystems. In addition to lands covered by the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, prime agricultural land now includes plantations and areas devoted to valuable crops, strategic agriculture, and fisheries development zone, fish refuge, and sanctuaries. Section 1 includes in tourism development areas such as Puerto Princesa, San Vicente, El Nido, Taytay, Southern Palawan within the Palawan Tourism Cluster, and Camarines Catanduanes and Albay Sorsogon Masbate within the Bicol Tourism Cluster as per the National Tourism Development Plan. Section 1 also excludes critical areas and island ecosystems and other mining impact areas. This is a very powerful argument why Mindoro, Sibuyan, Camiguin, Siquijor, Romblon, and similar islands should be considered off-limits to mining. Is President Aquino's flagship anti-poverty program as effective as he says it is? Senator Franklin Drilon says the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on Public Expenditures will review the 39 billion peso conditional cash transfer program ahead of the deliberations for the 2013 national budget. The CCT gives cash grants to extremely poor households. Drilon says, "We would like to hear from Social Welfare Secretary Dinky Soliman if her agency has successfully plugged in some of the loopholes." The Commission on Audit notes loopholes in the CCT. Cash grants were released to beneficiaries who failed to submit the requirements. COA also observes double or triple entries of beneficiaries. It also says a random sampling showed the CCT beneficiaries included gamblers, drug users, and wealthy families. Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valtes says the government continues to purge the list. Aquino is expected to cite the CCT as a key accomplishment of his administration in his third State of the Nation address, July 23. Joint Task Force Basilan reports 6 security escorts in a convoy were killed and 22 others wounded in an ambush at a rubber plantation in Sumisip town. Army spokesman Major Harold Cabunok says the members who escorted the civilian workers managed to return fire, forcing the lawless elements to retreat in different directions. The Abu Sayyaf is suspected to be behind the attack. The cooperative says it received extortion letters that appear to be from the Abu Sayyaf, demanding more than $1,000 a month. Quezon City will soon have 2 new districts. President Aquino approved on July 2 Republic Act 10170, which divides Quezon City's 2nd District into 3. This increases the city's current 4 districts to 6. This gives defeated 2010 congressional candidates a chance to run for the same post in the new districts. Among them are former 2nd District Representatives Ismael Mahtay III and Annie Susano. The country's largest business groups eye the Light Rail Transit Line 1 extension project, which will connect Cavite and Manila. Excuse me. San Miguel Corporation and the joint venture of Ayala Corporation and Metro Pacific Investments Corporation are among the 25 firms interested in the bidding for the 55 billion peso rail project. Transportation Secretary Manuel Rojas says the project will serve commuters traveling between Cavite and Manila. When completed, estimated travel time from end to end will be 1 hour and 10 minutes. The 55 billion peso cost will be split between the government and the private contractor. In the region, Japan protests the entry of 3 Chinese patrol boats near a chain of islands at the center of a territorial dispute. Japanese Coast Guard says the boats entered Japanese waters around the islands in the East China Sea, known as Senkaku in Japanese and Diaoyu in Chinese. The 2 countries are fighting over the islands, which may contain valuable mineral reserves. Japan earlier said it may buy the islands from their private Japanese owner. The Tokyo metropolitan government says it's collected more than 1.3 billion yen in donations for the purchase. But Beijing counters Japan has no right to buy the islands. Japanese and Chinese foreign ministers will meet later on the sidelines of an Association of Southeast Asian Nations forum in Cambodia. A Thai-born U.S. citizen jailed for insulting the kingdom's revered monarch is granted a royal pardon. Joe Gordon was sentenced to 2.5 years in December under the kingdom's strict lèse-majesty laws. These laws protect members of the royal family from insult or threat and is part of Thailand's criminal code. While in the U.S., Gordon posted a banned biography of King Bhumibol Adulyadej online. He was arrested in May when he visited Thailand. Protesters in the U.S. said he was exercising his right to free speech. U.S. Embassy officials urged Thai authorities to ensure that freedom of expression is protected. The royal family is a sensitive topic in Thailand, with the king revered as a god by many Thais. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 2, despite an order from Egypt's High Court dissolving the legislature, the Egyptian parliament convenes on Tuesday in defiance of the military junta and the courts. Newly elected President Mohamed Morsi restored the legislature Sunday in a presidential decree. The political party Muslim Brotherhood calls for a 1 million-man protest to support Morsi's decision, but the higher constitutional court reiterates its ruling is final and binding. At number 5, warlord Thomas Lubanga in the African nation of Congo is sentenced to 14 years in jail by the International Criminal Court. Lubanga was tried for using children as soldiers in his private army. His conviction is the first by the ICC. Lubanga led the Union of Congolese Patriots in the 2002 to 2003 civil war in Congo. An estimated 60,000 people were killed during the ethnic conflict. At number 9, Wikipedia shut down its Russian language site for 24 hours on Tuesday to protest a law that, if passed, would give the Russian government power to blacklist certain sites. Lawmakers argue the proposal aims to protect children from child pornography websites, but critics believe it could be used by the government to regulate political discussion. Russians protested the bill on Twitter. And at number 10, the U.S. Episcopal Church is on its way to becoming the first major religious denomination in the U.S. to give its blessing to gay marriages. Once approved, the decision takes effect in December. The Episcopal Church is the 14th largest religious group in the U.S. and has been in the forefront of promoting gay rights more than any other U.S. church in history. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. The Ascals find themselves in a tough group in the AFF Suzuki Cup 2012. The men's Philippine football team was drawn into Group A with Vietnam, host Thailand, and the top qualifier in the group stage. Suzuki Cup is the same tournament in 2010 where the Ascals first gained wide popularity. This year's tournament will be held in Malaysia and Thailand in November. Team manager Dan Palami says, "We're not coming in as a surprise team anymore. We're coming in as one of the favorites." Well, let's look at Rappler's Mood Navigator. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which asks you to vote for your mood for each story. All of that is then pulled together, and on the back end, the major mood is chosen for the day. 10 stories, the top 10 with the most votes clicked, wind up on the Navigator. The top story is the only one. A Rappler profile is about Dolphy with 89% sad, and the top story for the day is Dolphy is dead at 83 with 90% sad. These two lead to the mood of the day. Most people are sad. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Wednesday, July 11th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.
Tayo ay magmamahalan habang nabubuhay. Ang puso mo at puso ko ay iisa lamang.
ang puso mo at puso ko